Okay. So if you have any questions, let me start with a few questions. These questions I've asked you multiple times, but then you have been very kind to answer all of them and tell us how was your experience. So let us start from listening itself. You have
Okay.
some very interesting things about listening, interesting points about listening. So how did you manage to score 8.5? Usually this is the case that in the third and the fourth section, the audio plays very fast.
Right.
So how did you manage that? Let us first understand that.
Right. So, first of all, I would say that the fact is that you have to master the accent, because sometimes we don't get a hold of what they're saying, because usually they use British accent. So once
Mhm.
you've mastered that, watched a lot of movies, talked in a lot of English during those days, you're in this zone that you start getting those answers automatically. Now,
Mhm.
first thing is, don't be a perfectionist, which was the tip given by you one day prior to the exam, because I tend to be. And what it means in this case is that once you're in the examination hall, don't be a perfectionist. If by chance you missed out on one point, do not keep thinking about it, do not keep wrecking about it, and do not waste your time on it, because if you waste 1 extra second on that, you'll miss the next answer. That is exactly what happened with me. I think I was in my second or third blank. I was taking a computer based test. So I had to enter the answers on the computer screen. And I entered it in the lowercase. So, being the perfectionist that I am, I deleted it and I switched on the caps lock. Meanwhile, they had already proceeded with the answer, the next line, and I ended up missing the next one. Immediately, I had to pick myself up, and tell myself no more time wastage. I have to, be on my toes and just complete it as and when they say it. Second thing is, they always give us 2 minutes for writing. I mean, for the pen and paper test, they give us 10 minutes to transfer answers. For computer, they tell us there are 2 minutes, just go through your answers and everything. The trick is, be so thorough while attempting it that you do not have to revisit it. Instead, use that time to read the next passage or the next set of questions, so that you, even if you can't memorize it, at least it's there in your mind. There are a few keywords that will stay in your mind, so when they start talking about it in the next passage, it immediately clicks that, oh, I heard this word, I read this word, this was there, this was there. You kind of work around it. That all I would say.
About listening. All right. And while doing the practice, while preparing for listening, did you do anything special about listening, or it was just the tests and revising the tests and correcting them? How did you prepare for the listening section?
Right. So it might sound very funny, but once we have the sample tests with us, we tend to cheat, because somehow we are like, oh, I just missed this answer. Let me just flip through the pages, look at it. Oh, yes, this is what I was thinking about. Let me write it down. Okay, I'm right. This way, we do not get a fair check about where we stand. So, in order to avoid that, what I did was, when I had my booklet or when I had the things on the computer screen, I used to tear the pages from the booklet and give it to my cousin to keep it with her, so that I do not end up cheating. So be truthful to yourself while you practice. And then obviously you'll get into a habit. If you get a habit of, flipping through the pages and seeing through them, then I mean, you do not get a reality check. So this way you will end up getting full marks in the practice session, but when you go there, then you will be disappointed. One is that. Second was doing all of them back to back. I did not pause the recording, I did not replay it, because I mean, every time I played it, I felt like doing it. I even did it once, but then I had to tell myself not to replay it, not to pause it. Yes, I did maintain a correction log. Um, that being said, I mean, after I was done with the entire listening thing, I marked all my answers, what all was wrong. Then I listened to it again to get a hang of where I was going wrong. That
Mhm.
was, I did not replay it at that instant. I had to control myself, but I replayed it after I was done with the entire thing, just to know where I was going wrong, to recognize my weak areas. For example, initially it happened that there is always a section where the person is talking about, like, telling us a phone number or some address. So they speak out some numbers, but being the, like, those British people, they have a specific way of saying those numbers. So if they say three, they say free, something like that. I mean, the accent is a bit intimidating. So I used to get confused there, so I had to work upon that. So I was only able to recognize my weak areas by being true to myself.
Okay. And corrections log you maintain for all the mistakes after you completed the test. So if some particular question went wrong, you wrote about it a little bit like a note, that this is what you were thinking and this is what you were supposed to write, right?
Right.
Okay. So after this session, after asking all the questions, I'll show you a few corrections logs which participants have been maintaining. And I think there is a lot of value in maintaining corrections log. We do not learn while taking the test, we learn while checking the test. And while checking the test, it is very important to write down all the learnings we have gathered, we could gather from one particular test. So I always ask you to maintain a corrections log and keep it in a shared folder. So I can access it and I can read and I can give comments on that. And this is something which you can use one day before the test. Just think about, like, what would you be doing one day before the test? Tomorrow is your exam. What would you like to do today? So what happens is, generally we do a lot of preparation, but on the exam day, just before the exam day, we don't have anything to fall back on. We just rely on all the experiences we had during our preparation. If you maintain a corrections log, probably in 20 minutes, you can revise everything. Srinam, did you refer to your corrections log a day before your exam?
I did. That was the only thing probably that I referred to before my exam. You cannot go through all your notes and everything. So I'd made little tables, a correction log, which I referred to in the morning also, right before my exam also.
So one big bullet point which I wanted to talk about in today's session is corrections log. It is really worth in millions, I would say. If there is one thing which I would like you to take from this session today, is to write down your mistakes. And that's what we mean by saying that you should turn your mistakes into your milestones. So when you write down your mistake and when you write down the right way to do it, it becomes a milestone that you have covered it. And yeah, so that's very, very important that you write down. And I'll tell you, like, there is a 3 column format wherein you write the reference, the incorrect answer, the correct answer. So that gives you a chance to revise the whole stuff maybe in 20 minutes, which is priceless in terms of saving time. All right, so let's come to reading now, Sheena. So how did you manage reading? And in you did academic test. In academic, the passages are also big, and somebody was telling me that reading is so boring. I don't like reading. So I forced them to say, I love reading. You have to say, I love reading every time you open a passage. So how did you manage reading? So let's start with the preparation part. So when you were preparing for reading, was it on the first day itself that you started getting very good marks in reading, or was there a journey? How was it?
I would say definitely it was a journey, and like that person who told you he does not like reading, I too wasn't the biggest fan of reading. It did take time to, and I let it grow on me, but it was over a few days. I did not force all the paragraphs on myself the very first day, because obviously you have to build that concentration at that level of accuracy, speed, and everything, but that too over time. So it was a slow process, but it was a successful process, I would say. The very first day, I attempted one paragraph, maintained a correction log, obviously. Then next day, I sat down and did two paragraphs. So the key was basically to create an exam like environment at home. So while I was solving those paragraphs. I was not moving up, going out, having a snack or anything. I was sitting there all through the paragraphs. And I think when you are attempting those paragraphs, you recognize your weak areas yourself, because initially no one gets full marks. And the kind of paragraphs you had like made us try and all, I think they kind of prepared us to deal with the questions that we actually got in the exam. So the kind of questions we did in class and the ones that were given by you, they kind of prepared us. So when I was in the exam, I'm telling my experience. When I was in the exam, I finished reading almost 15 minutes before the time, like the 60-minute thing that was given to us before time. And I think that was only because I knew what my weakness was and what my strong points were. uh, all thanks to the correction log again. um, and one more misconception that is very prominent, like very uh, common, is that people say the more the number of paragraphs you do, the better you get at it. I would rather suggest do a limited number of paragraphs, but then go over it again and again, so that you know where you're going wrong. For example, in the beginning, when I started solving paragraphs, I was facing a problem in distinguishing where to write false and where to write not given. So then when I saw that this was a repetitive mistake that I made, I obviously contacted you, and then you told me how to deal with it. And after that, I knew that okay, either you have to write not given, here you have to write false. Similarly, there are a different set of questions in every paragraph. There are fill in the blanks, there are match the paragraph or match that line to a paragraph, there are true false. So, when you keep attempting paragraphs, you get a hang of it and you know what your weak areas are and what your strong areas are. So, what I did was, I mean, I knew that what my strong areas were. So, I attacked those first in the exam. This way, I was able to complete most of the easy part, which was actually, according to me, it was easy. So I was able to get through it in no time, and then I had a lot of time to focus on my weak areas.
So as I see, you talked about two, three things. The first is that you should do initial stages, you should do the same test multiple times rather than doing many tests. So you
Right.
get a hang of all types of questions, because if you do lots of different types of tests or different tests initially, you get a different challenge and there is no learning. It's like you have to focus in a different context altogether. So if you have to develop certain proficiency in one particular type of question set, it makes all good sense to do the same test again multiple times at the initial stage. And then once you are confident about like true false not given or how to find the heading, when you know that this is the right technique, then you can take multiple tests to reinforce learning. That is one point I gathered. The second point is that while doing the test, you should pick the section or that particular paragraph which matches your style. It is not necessary to do the first paragraph first, second paragraph second, third paragraph third. It's the questions which you like the most, so you can pick and choose. Like when we go to a party, we eat dessert first, although they say you should eat dessert last. But then if you like dessert more than the main course, nobody can stop you, and you have got all freedom to do it, and it is actually advisable. And I think those are the two key things about reading. Great. And the best part is you were able to finish it 15 minutes before time. I think it is commendable. And yeah, of course, I know that you did a lot of practice also. And I also like the way you are saying that you were absolutely honest. You didn't check your answers. You let somebody else check your answers, because when somebody else is checking your reading or writing, he or she can point out those small mistakes which you may ignore because it is your answer, or you may tend to cheat intentionally, which is, I mean, very natural. We have a soft corner for ourselves all the time. So I think those are the key things. How about writing? I mean, writing is one thing which is a little dreadful, and which sometimes is a nightmare for some people. I should not say that I am a trainer, but then I know that writing requires maximum practice. Yeah. So how did you work on writing, specifically writing the essays? How did you,
Okay,
let
so
me ask you first question, like how do you generate ideas? How do you, how, like you get a question, sometimes the question is entirely new or you don't know about it. So did it happen with you that you encountered some questions where you didn't get any idea initially and you then had to kind of work on something or try a workaround to get ideas? How do you generate ideas for an essay for an unknown topic?
So yeah, that did happen, but that was only during the practice that I was doing at home, because obviously that was the first time I was looking at that question. So I ensured that I covered a lot of main topics so that I had something to write on anything that they asked. Second thing was I kind of learned how to cook stories, and that too very convincing ones, because that is the art that you have to master there for speaking and writing. Third was I worked on my vocab, and that happened over time. And then I also learned a few proverbs. Then I started, instead of saying Twilight is my favorite book, instead of using simple sentences, you helped me work my way around complex sentences and, um, remold them so that they looked more complex and more scoring. I believe that were the those were the only points. And the format is really important, and that helps you score a lot of marks. Easy for the examiner to score, to judge where you stand. Second, it I mean organizes the essay and makes it look presentable.
Yeah. So how was your total time? Somebody is asking. I think Ujjwal is asking, how much time did you take to prepare for the exam? Like total
For the
number of days?
exercise,
Yeah,
I took about 10 days.
about 10
10,
days to prepare,
10,
and
10,
like
15.
from 10 to 15 days. So somewhere around 15 days is what we can say. So yeah, that was it. And yeah, so let me come back to the writing part. What you said was that in order to generate ideas, the first thing you did was you went through lots of essays initially. You read them rather than relying on something. And I see a jugaad that you use, that you compiled all the topics and you wrote some small answers. If what type of house you want to live in, this is the topic, these are the 3 points, this is the topic, these are the 3 points, this is the topic, these are. So if you have got 50 topics, writing essays on 50 topics would take maybe like 3 months. But then if you want to simply write some points on those 50 topics, you can write it in 3 days or maybe one
Exactly.
day also. If you've got some prepared essays and you simply write down, okay, if this is the topic, these can be the 2 points in favor of it, these two can be the 2 points in against it, and this is the conclusion. So if you just focus on the skeleton of various topics, probably it helps you to overcome this hurdle of not having enough ideas. So that's
Definitely.
fun. You also said that you worked on your vocabulary and learned some phrases. So, intentionally and purposely making use of some complex sentences and compound sentences when you get a chance probably helped you there. And of course, learning those structures and templates. So if there is a certain type of essay, you use certain structure to write it. You told me that you fell short of time in writing because you took a lot of time in writing the essays, but when you, because of the template that you had mastered, you could write the graph in maybe 10 minutes or something like that.
9 minutes I took to read and write the question.
And you scored 7 bands there in writing. So, of course, Lady Luck was in your favor at that time. She favored you. But then, yes, I do see a lot of value in in learning templates rather than going with a lot of content. So, templates are like the curries. So, if you have curry, you can make chicken curry or chana curry based on what kind of question you get. But the curry is the same. So, that's what is the use of a template there. Okay, so let's now come to speaking. And of course, we are going to, you know, ask a few questions. I will ask somebody to ask some questions the way an IELTS examiner asks, or maybe I'll ask them. But then I would like you to tell us something, how you molded speaking in your favor. Were the questions asked were very comfortable? I mean, you were very comfortable with all the questions, or you were conversant with all those questions, or there were some topics which were alien, and how you dealt with them?
Okay, so yes, I was quite comfortable. Being an English speaker, it was not a big task, but since we're all, I mean, most of us are Hindi speakers, and at our houses we use Hindi, Punjabi, and other languages. So there's not that level of fluency and comfort that comes to us in English naturally. So I believe before our speaking exam, we need to be in that zone. So what I did personally was I watched a lot of movies in those during those preparation days, a lot of English documentaries, read some books, and right before the exam I was talking to my parents, my grandparents in English only. So that I was in a zone. I was thinking in English, I was speaking in English, everything in English. One thing was that which kind of helped me, be in that zone, and then English was like flowing out of me. Second was for the speaking part, I think we must learn how to cook up very convincing stories, because rarely do they judge us based on the accuracy of the facts, but more about being fluent and being confident and making sense and using good vocab and good sentence formation. So not caring about the facts as much. For example, if they ask you, do you like history? So obviously I hate history, but and this was the actual question asked to me in the exam. But I cannot go like, oh, I hate history. I was like, oh, I love history. In fact, I just read a book yesterday. I kind of led the examiner. So his next question was, oh, what book did you read? So, I mean, you have to lie, but you have to lie convincingly. One is that. Second is be fluent. Don't be scared, because they're very nice. I mean, I was lucky enough to get a very nice examiner. He made me comfortable. He created a good environment, and he was very encouraging also. Whenever I stopped, he was like, yeah, yeah, go ahead, go ahead. So I mean, it's being about being in that zone, and being confident in whatever you say. Even if you fumble, do not correct, just keep going, because they have been taking interviews all day, so they're not really listening. Even if you fumble, they might not notice, but if you correct it again, they might notice that. So just keep going, just keep speaking, make sense, but more than that, just form good sentences and be grammatically correct. I think that helps.
Okay, okay. So I think two, three things which I gathered there were, number one, to be in that zone. So, you know, if you are in that zone, it helps. And the way to do it is start speaking in English with anybody and everybody for 2, 3 days, so that you become, it's not a surprise to your psyche that, oh, today there is a special occasion and I'm speaking in English. Your mind should think that you are already an English speaker. The second thing you said was that how to cook convincing stories. And so, you know, I was actually thinking, so when he asked which history book you read, what did you say when you are not reading any history book and you said, yeah, 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 I love history? The next question would be, which history book you read? So what was your answer there?
So I am a dentist by profession. So I started like this. I am a dentist by profession, and I read about dental history the other day. It was a very nice book, and I mean, I was glued to it the entire day, which I absolutely hate. But then I had to make up that story, and he was very impressed.
So basically, you are actually creating some good uh, opportunities for yourself to showcase English. It is not important that you are absolutely truthful. You can cook stories, but actually, it's a test of English to a certain extent. You can showcase your English by cooking stories also. You're so good
Definitely.
at English that you can even lie in English is something which can go in your favor. But yeah, it should not be a white lie. It should not, and yeah, that's what she meant when she said that you have to make convincing stories. And yeah, apart from that, I think vocabulary and Yeah, I also noticed you said that if you fumble, you should not correct yourself too much because it shows that you are conscious. You can just be fluent and not worry about small mistakes here and there, because as such in speaking you are supposed to be very spontaneous, and when you are speaking, even an English speaker might commit some errors here and there. So your confidence plays a very important role there, is what I see. All right, so that was about listening, reading, writing, and speaking. We pretty much covered everything in maybe 15-20 minutes, but it was, I think, very, very useful. If any one of you have any questions around these four sections, you can ask, and then we can have a round of speaking with Sheena.
Hi Raju, yeah, this is Sarunan from Chennai. I have one question
Yes, yes, please go ahead, Sarvanan.
because no, she told that she is practicing 15 days, right? Almost 15 days. How she preparing and all? Like 1 week, 1 week will be reasoning, underwriting. How it will be shuffled or reading for 3 days or writing for 3 days, 4 days. How it will be for making the
So,
preparation. So
how did you plan your 15 days? Is the question. Like, did you do the
yes, correct.
questions directly, or did you do some, I mean, preparing for, you prepared for the background, or so how did you plan your 15 days to reach to the level of 8.5 bands?
So I did not designate 3 days for reading, 3 days of for writing. Like I said earlier, I created an exam-like atmosphere. So initially, I did work on my weak areas, but by the end of it, I was solving the entire exam at once.
Hmm.
Like all the entire question paper I was solving, sitting for 3 hours straight and doing it all at once. So I think being in that zone really helps, because if you go there unprepared, like you've done 3 days reading, 3 days listening, you might be scoring full marks in listening, full marks in reading, but there I mean, when you have to do it back to back, you get tired. So I think I personally created a exam like atmosphere. But yes, I did devote extra time to my weak areas, which I was only able to recognize after attempting a few question papers.
Fair, fair, fair. I think there's a lot of value in what you're saying, that if we uh, devote 3 hours, sitting for 3 hours continuously at one place and doing the test itself is a challenge. So we have to have that stamina to stay focused for 3 hours and in different types of questions. I mean, doing different types of questions, and of course, paying more attention to the weak areas. But yes, when we do the test, it makes sense to, at least in the last few days, devote like 3 hours continuously on the test. Yes. Any
Yes,
other
right.
question there?
Yes, thank you, thank you.
Yeah, Sarvanan. All right. So, any other questions before we go for speaking round? Any questions you have about listening, reading, writing, speaking, you can ask.
Raju, one more question. Sorry,
Yeah, please go
Yeah,
ahead.
you can.
sorry, someone is yeah.
You
Can
can
I
go.
or yeah, yeah, because no, while we going for a computer based exam, instead there is a paper based and computer based two exams, right? If you're going for a computer based exam, there will be any paper or pen will be written. Can like a paper for some inst should be noted in paper sheet, or we can note it in a computer, so like a notepad or whatever. Maybe we can save it. How it is, Raju?
Hmm. Yes, Sheila. So, you would like to take that question?
So
How is a computer-based test administered? How are you able to make notes and all?
So personally, I wanted to attempt pen and paper based, because all my life I've been giving pen and paper based exams. But owing to the lockdown, I could only get a computer based one. I was really apprehensive at first, but trust me, it worked in my favor. One or two things that we don't know and that we get to know when we reach the center is that first you get to decide the size of the text and the color of the background and the text. So there was an option for blue background and yellow text, red background, black text. different options were there. I think sticking to the conventional white and black was the best option. Then you had another option of small, medium, and large text. Small text was very small. You had to literally go near the screen and read. And large text was so large that you had to flip through multiple pages to reach the desired question. So I think sticking with the medium text was a good option. Other than that, you can, just like your written exam, where you take your pen and the pencil and underline a few things just to remember or refer to later. In the computer based exam, you can highlight things. So you can click on it, highlight, so a yellow kind of highlight appears on the word that you've highlighted. But I think rarely do we need that. We do get a pen and paper which gets replaced after every section, so that we cannot cheat the vocab from one section to other. So we might have found one word in one section and written it down so that I'll use it in another section. So they are very smart. They take our paper away for the next section and then give us a new paper. Other than that, you don't get time, like not enough time to note it down and then give it back on the computer screen. For listening, you note down the answers directly on the computer. Some of them you have to tick also or select also. So earlier on I was apprehensive, but after the exam I was quite happy. Apart from the writing part, obviously, where I went a little wrong because I'm a very slow typer. I type really slow, so that was the only deterrent. Other than that, computer based exam is really easy and within range.
Okay. So I
Thanks,
think,
Raju.
yeah,
Thank you.
yeah. So you can highlight, you can select the font size, you can choose your own background color, and as she said, medium size is the best. And while writing answers to the listening question, you can directly write the answers there in the test paper. I think that's pretty much about it. And yeah, even with reasonable typing speed, you can get very good marks there. So yeah.
Raju, can you suggest which one is the best one? Will go for a paper based or computer based? Because I can suggest a computer based is a good one. So I'm getting opinion from your side.
If you ask me, I personally like computer based one, because there are certain things which you can do on computer which are not possible on a paper based, in the paper based test. You have to delete something, but here you can cut and paste. You get the word count all the time when you are writing an essay or a letter or a graph. You can highlight stuff. So and the screen is divided into two sections, so it's not that scrolling becomes a little easier there. So just that you should be conversant with using computers on a daily basis. And like Sheenam said, even when she was not so conversant, computer based tests proved to be a blessing for her for many reasons. You know, uh, so I would rather like you to take a to decide on that. But then in this lockdown situation, as I hear, see them saying that the only option available is computer based. I don't know whether British Council or IDP have started paper based tests yet. I haven't heard about them, and I haven't seen anyone doing paper based tests lately. But then, yes, it's a matter of personal preference.
Okay. Okay, Raju. Okay. Yeah, I also do prefer computer. Okay. Thank
One thing I'd like to add, I'm not really sure, but I was told by one of my friends that when you attempt a paper based test, pen paper based test, there are like a large number of students taking the test at the same time. Whereas in a computer based test, you are in a like a secluded sort of a cabin sort of thing. So everyone has their own computer, everyone has their own headphones, so you are able to concentrate more. I'm not sure if that's true or not, but
Yes,
that's what I've
yes,
heard.
yes. It is right. They more have like a bay kind of a system, and people are being set in one bay another after the other. So you have one gap in each student.
Yeah,
So like that is more. You can concentrate more, and people are like 6 to 7 in one room, so you don't
exactly.
get so much distorted from the noise.
One more thing I'd like to add, which is very, not related, but that is something that I did personally was when the writing section started, everyone was typing on the computers and there was a lot of clicking sounds everywhere. So I was not able to concentrate. So
Yes,
I
I
asked
understand.
my examiner whether I could keep my earphones on. I mean, they were not the best quality earphones, but then they did help muffle the voice a bit and they did help me concentrate more. So if someone feels like they can even try.
Yes, use, yeah.
Okay, sure. Thank you.
Yeah, so that's a good
Uh,
regard to cancel noise. You can use headphones to just remain focused and cancel noise.
So,
So,
Srinam, I wanted to ask you on the preparation standpoint that for listening reading, I believe like you might have done the preparation for Cambridge books, right? And that too from 11 to 15, I guess, which is pretty more people use for preparation. Considering the amount of days what you have taken, 10 days, so that was the only approach that you have taken.
Yeah, I mean, I was forwarded a few sample papers by Sir only. I think they were from book 9, 10, 11, 12. That's it. 13. I think those were the books I covered. And then right before my exam, I did receive a hard copy also. So I did not have a lot of time to solve those because that really comes last moment. But I think all the sample papers sent to me by Sir, I solved them religiously.
Okay, and for the essay piece, so like if I want to just know on, uh, like have you just developed the structures and analyze how what are the vocabs that need to be used, or you were actually writing the essays, different essays, and submitting for correction? Because uh, most of the time I have seen many of the people who are just developing a strategy to uh, gather vocabs, good vocabs, and reading through different band 9 essays, and then go by that strategy and not writing a single essay. So what was your strategy in writing?
I think having a lot of study material does not count if you do not practice. It is of no use. So obviously, going through a lot of essays does help you get a hang of what a good essay should look like. But then you'll have to like practically write one to know where you stand, because easier said than done. I mean, it is a whole lot different situation when you actually write it down. When you have that idea in mind, but you're not able to put it in words. So I mean, you have to get the brain going and in practice to actually get a good essay. And then once you are writing, obviously, if I had 30 topics in mind, I did not write 30 essays. But then I'll tell you, for example, I was just going through one of them. I prepared for an essay which was co-ed versus separate schools. So what I did was I made a difference wala column, co-ed one side, separate one side, wrote 5 points here, wrote 5 points there. This way I was able to gather a few points. But yes, I remember Sir giving me this topic and I had to write this down. So I was able to recall those points, but then actually putting them into complete sentences, like complex sentences, adding some proverbs, some facts, that was a like altogether different task. So reading helps, but then you have to, I think, well, I mean, according to each his own, but I think you have to practically do it in order to get what it really is.
Okay,
Yeah.
thank you.
So just to add one small point there, you should be aware of the templates. You should know some templates, but end of the day, you will remember the template only when you have used it multiple times. Like for example, when I've sent you some 18 different lessons on writing today, how to write introduction, how to write body, how to write conclusion. I remember them and I tell them in every class. But since you do not get a chance to write those many essays, you do not follow that path. So reading is not enough. I think a combination of reading good essays and testing yourself uh, is what is desired. And as she said, doing the full tests. So put it in nuts to just conclude it. I would say at least, I mean, in a week, take at least two full tests wherein you sit for 3 hours and take the full test. So your system gets trained on sitting for 3 hours and that atmosphere. And for rest of the days, you can simply keep on reading content, and feeding your mind with a lot of ideas. So twice a week you test what you learned, and rest of the days you keep on filling yourself with a lot of ideas and strategies.
Sir, I wanted to ask you one thing. For reading computerized test, uh, so the screen will be divided in two parts so that we'll be able to see the reading question paper and we can write the answers, something like that.
Hmm. Shinam, you can answer that.
Yeah.
So basically,
Yeah. To
yeah,
my surprise, I mean, yeah.
go ahead, please.
So I was expecting, like, was expecting that I would be scrolling all the time. That is the main reason I didn't want to take a computer base, because I mean, it is practically easy to flip through the pages when you have them, but going up and down
Absolutely.
on a computer is very taxing. But to my surprise, there was I mean, a divider, and there were two pages at a time, so I could look at the question. I mean, look at the passage and the questions at the same time. And mostly I had to tick or I had to enter them manually, so it was quite manageable, surprisingly.
Yeah.
Okay.
And there are some
Thank you.
sites, in fact, there are multiple sites. One site which I can suggest you right now is mini-ielts.com. So if you go to mini-ielts.com and if you go through its interface, it is exactly the same it would appear in your real test. So it shows your screen divided into two parts, and the questions and answers are in the same format. You'll find the question numbers written on the bar below. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, like that. The questions are there. You can click on them. You can skip and jump to the question of your choice. So those things are possible. So you can just check this mini-ielts.com to see the type of interface. I think British Council site also has some online samples for participants to get conversant on the interface. But yes, you can also use mini-ielts.
Sir, I wanted to know about the speaking topics. We have Makar IELTS Q card document, right?
Mhm,
From September to December, we have a document. So
mhm.
can we refer that document for getting the speaking topics? Is that relevant, or just wanted to know whether we can refer that for getting the speaking topics
Yeah,
that is supposed to come in the exam? So just wanted to know that.
sure. So, Sheetam, how did you prepare for your speaking? Can you tell us? Like, there are so many topics, and this is a very obvious question. How do I know everything under the sun? Because they can ask, tell me about a birthday party, tell me about a new mobile phone, tell me about a music concert you attended, tell me about something where you did and you felt sorry about. So, how many topics can a person prepare? And is Makkar IELTS? She's Makkar, by the way. She's Makkar IELTS. So is Madam Makkar's book good enough, or we should refer to some other books, or what should we do?
Okay, so first was that I first of all I got a hang of what the pattern was. Section one, that is the first part of the speaking, is about 4 or 5 minutes, wherein they ask you questions about yourself. Now, obviously, you cannot be prepared about the entire speaking because they ask you on the spot. But this is one thing that you obviously know the answer to. If they ask you what is your name, what your profession is, obviously we know the answer to these. The only thing we have to do is be fluent while talking about it. How many questions can they form about you? Your name, your profession, your family, your birthplace? Nothing, I mean, more than that. So it revolves around you.
Which color
So
do you
even
like? What
even
is your
I
daily
made
routine?
a
Your preferences or those things, I think. Yeah. Which type of books do you like to
exactly,
read?
exactly,
That's it. Yes.
exactly. So it is all personal questions. We know the answers. We don't have to think about it. The only thing we can practice is answering them fluently. So making a list of like 10, 11, 12 topics max about yourself, and then like speaking it at a stretch helps. I did that in front of the mirror, helps a lot, because that way you don't get conscious. You can gauge your expressions, the way you use your hands. I went during the COVID situation, so my interview was on the computer screen. So first of all, I asked my examiner whether I could take off my mask because it was blocking most of my expressions. Second, I made sure that I used my hands a lot, I used my eyes a lot. That adds a personal touch. Third, even if you are prepared with the answer, if they're asking where do you live and what are the places to visit there, I know I live in Panchkula. I know there are 10 places to visit, and I have remembered those places by heart, but I cannot make it look like I know you were about to ask this. I'll be like, oh, so there are a lot of places. Let me just start by saying that there's this one place you must visit. You have to make it look spontaneous and casual, even though you're prepared. That is the first part. Second part is the cue card. Now, obviously, cue card you cannot be prepared, but the cue card vocabulary you can be prepared with. For example, quite often they ask you who's your favorite person, who do you look up to, who inspires you. So there is a list of like 15 personality related words that you can memorize and add anywhere. That helps. Second is when they tell you to talk about a topic, speak on a topic for 2 minutes. When you think about it, 2 minutes is nothing. But when you start speaking, you are done in 30 seconds, because maybe you are a very quick speaker like me and you speak like talk quickly, or you might skip a few points in your head. So for that, sir only suggested me one method, what that was PPF. So PPF is past, present, and future method. For example, if they ask you what is your favorite book, if you say my favorite book is Twilight, it is written, it is like the author is this, the story is this, it is my favorite book, then you're through with the entire speaking material in 30 seconds. But if you use the PPF method, you start by saying, as a child, I was a big fan of Tinkle. That kept me busy all during the day and everything. Then you talk about the present. But one book that I really enjoy reading nowadays is the Twilight series. You talk about that, you still have 30 seconds. You add, and I have been contemplating about reading The Monk Who Sold His Ferrari whenever I get time. So you add more material, you make sense, and you're not out of material to talk about. Last thing is they have given you some questions. So make sure, even if you like if you speak less, if you speak more, just do not miss those points, because they'll be judging you on that. That is all. Then you can lie very convincingly again. Obviously that does not make sense, but just sound convincing, that's all. Then talking about the last part, okay, so the cue card, I would like to add that they say that it is for 2 minutes, but my examiner seemed very experienced and very, I mean, he was very spontaneous and going with the flow, and he stopped me in about 1 minute 30 seconds. Okay, let's move on to the next. And then he spent a good 10 minutes on the third part. So although the format is quite scripted, but then anything can happen, we must like be prepared. And the last part of speaking is wherein they ask for your opinion. So first part of speaking we can be prepared with. Second part, we have to be spontaneous but smart and handle it very nicely. Third part is you have to make sense, but do not speak less than what is required, also do not speak more than what is required. They are very nice, they prompt you. If they think that you've spoken less, they'll ask why or what, and I mean, it's an indication to speak more. But just voice your opinion, make sense in the last part, because it is mostly general knowledge or value based, and sometimes connected to the first part. So if they ask where do you live in the first part, it is likely that they ask, do you think people should live in their hometowns or move abroad? Like, just giving an example. That's all.
So yeah, so two, three very, very interesting points she made. She mentioned, which are worth contemplating upon. I think the first is that you should prepare so much that you look natural. That does not mean that you should not prepare, but you should prepare so much, like the way I think film actors and actresses act on the screen. Everything is scripted, but when they act, it appears as if they are just doing it spontaneously. So you can use those tricks that, well, as far as Panchkulla is concerned, I think the most interesting place. So you can control your rate of speech to make it more natural, although you should prepare. And as you can see, the question was very straightforward. Should you refer to Makkar or not? But she made such a big story. So, it should be in your blood that you start making stories and become a little structured about the whole thing. If you have a very clear vision about the whole test, like, okay, this is the first part, this is the second part, this is the third part, and what is the purpose behind each of them. Like the first part is about personal information, so you can always think about what could be the personal information about me. What do I like, what is my routine, what do I eat, where do I go, what type of games do I like to play, and all those things. And to come specifically to your question, I think, yeah, I have read Makkar's book and I find it to be quite comprehensive as far as the content is concerned. So, in case you want to refer to that, I think it is more than enough for sure. And but yes, you should be so thorough that you should be able to forget it. Even when you forget, you should be able to present it the way you would, the way actors prepare. And yeah, the last thing she said is that there is no format, although they say there is some format, but then they can break their own rules. So don't get surprised if they ask questions which are like they do not give you 2 minutes. Sometimes some people come to me and say that all these IELTS examiners are very rude. They didn't let me speak only. The moment I caught the became fluent about the subject, they asked me to stop. So there is a purpose. They want to see how you speak spontaneously. In our day-to-day lives also, we do not get a chance to speak continuously. So they would interrupt you, be ready for that. And there is no set format as such, which they would always follow religiously.
Okay,
I
thank
think
you, sir.
that's,
Yeah.
yeah.
Just to add one tip that it's a funny one. I've given twice in IDP Mumbai, and coincidentally the Makkar what Lekha I believe Lekha highlighted.
Yeah.
So I just verified that cue card, and coincidentally the same cue card was there in Makkar as it is, followed by the questions what they ask post the 2 minute question they give you the cue followed by the question. The same as it is, it was there. So I don't know whether IDB is following the same material for conducting the speaking test. So
Yeah. See,
I guess you
I
can
think, yeah. So there is a lot of sense in using all these books, but I would say that you should be confident enough to speak on any topic. I
yes,
mean,
yes.
uh,
It should be
the
natural.
more you should actually be able to. I always say that speaking is a test of how much you can forget, because when you are speaking, if you have some point of reference, you cannot speak because you are the slave of that reference, and sometimes that reference moves away. अगर हम कोई चीज भूल गए तो हम उसको कैसे बोलेंगे? So like for example, when you are speaking in Hindi, do you ever tell yourself that, oh, I have to remember something? No, you go bindas. You go there that you ask me anything and I'll answer. That should be the state. And I know that it is easier said than done. We are speaking in English and we are not as conversant, but yes, you should have done so much practice that it should look very, very natural. And one more thing I would point out is related to Lekha's question. If you prepare on any 10 topics, take any damn 10 topics, you know, you would pretty much be able to answer any question. Like, for example, tell me something about a birthday party that you attended, and tell me something about a picnic that you attended, would have lots of things in common, right? We enjoyed a lot, we ate different varieties of food. So, if you prepare any 10 topics, you pretty much prepare for all the topics.
Exactly.
Okay, sir. Yeah.
Okay. Any other question that you have that you want to ask Shinam, and we can take it forward from there then? I think she has answered more than required, so I don't think we need to take her interview anymore. You can
I'm
watch.
sorry, I get carried away sometimes
You get carried away with what?
while answering. I mean, during the exam, examiners like, okay, 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 done. Wait.
Okay. Yeah. So, yeah, I think that's pretty much I wanted to cover, because more or less everything which I wanted to do in this session, I sent some content on that to you. And that's what, yeah. So I think, yeah, any other questions before we conclude this one? I have a suggestion for you. So what I am seeing is that all of you are very, very busy and you do not get time to practice a lot of things. I've been sending a lot of content and I want you to have a little success there with you during these sessions. If I keep on giving a lot of inputs and if you do not get an opportunity to practice, probably it would not work. And it should be like, oh, yeah, we learned a lot of things, but then we didn't get a chance to practice or apply it. So I want to have an off tomorrow. I want you to do test one, even if you have done it. I want you to do it once again till you get 40 on 40 on all the sections of listening, reading, writing, everything. So tomorrow would be Friday. We can do our next session on Saturday. Even if you are not able to attend or if there is some prior arrangement, I'll in any case be sharing the recordings with you. But in the interest of the larger group and everyone, I was wondering if we can have this kind of change in the structure.
Sorry to interrupt you. I just wanted to ask you about this writing thing, as you asked us to, solve the reading, writing, and speaking. Listening test until we score 40. But will you be assessing the writing paper? I mean, do we have to share that with you? I
Yes,
mean,
I
how
want you
will
to
I be
share.
able
I
to?
will not be able to assess all of them in the given time span, but I would definitely read as many as possible. And in case if time allows me, I'll answer all of them. But this is how I'm going to do. The way I've asked you to do listening and reading. For writing also, I'm going to send you an answer. In fact, I've already written an answer there in that video if you have seen. So the sample answer is already there, and I also copy that answer there in the group. So I want you to rewrite that only. I don't want you to write anything on your own. I want you to just rewrite that answer in your words. Even if you just copy it, I'm okay with that. Ideally, you should read it 4 5 times and then write it. But even if you simply copy, it is okay.
Okay, sir.
So that's what I want you to do for writing, because asking you to write something right now when you have not gone through uh, you know the first step of developing the writing skill would not make sense. Yeah, so this is what I'm planning. I'm planning to have an off tomorrow, and this is because not an off, but a practice day tomorrow. Let's call it as practice day, because if it is an off, you will consider it as an off. It's a practice day. I want you all to write it down. I mean, finish all the three sections and send the message to me that listening 40 on 40, reading 40 on 40, writing done and dusted.
Got
Right?
it, sir. Yes,
You will
yes.
have a little feel of, yeah, I have done something. Otherwise, it would have been just one-way traffic going on where Rajiv Gondal is speaking and you all are listening. So I want you to have a little taste of life by doing the test yourself. Try to do it in one go, but yes, you can do multiple attempts. And as we discussed, I want you to have 40 on 40 in all the sections of, first of all, listening and reading. And for writing also, I want you to prepare and write. See, as I told you earlier, there are different phases in our journey. There is preparation, there is practice, and then there is performance. So I'm not really looking for performance right now, and you should also not expect performance from you right away. It is important to realize and tell yourself that I am at a preparation and practice stage. If I can do preparation and practice the way I'm telling you, you would have done your task. you know so I'm not looking for performance, I'm looking for very good preparation and practice from you, because if that is done well, obviously your performance would be well. Okay, so this is what I plan to do, and we'll take it forward from there then.
Yes, thank you.
So
Yes.
Saturday we would be meeting. I'll share the time with you. I think most of you would have an off on Saturday. Is that right?
Yes, sir.
Yes,
Or,
Rajiv. Yes.
or you want to keep it? I'm all okay with Sunday also though.
Yes, Saturday is fine.
Saturday is fine. Okay, fine. So Saturday we will do it probably a little earlier in the afternoon, so that you have your Saturday evening there with you. But yes, on Saturday we can then do our next session. I can check what you have done, and in case you have got any, in fact tomorrow itself you should just send all your answers with all the corrections and things. So maybe Saturday and Sunday, these 2 days, uh, I'm in fact planning to extend it by one day. So our course was of 3 days. I'll make it 4 days. So Saturday and Sunday, both days are off. So on Saturday you can submit the answers. On Sunday we can have whatever Q&A is there with you, and we can take it forward.
Okay.
All right.
Okay.
Okay. See you day after tomorrow then. But tomorrow you are going to send me this, that listening done, reading done, writing done. You should have done with at least 3 parts of the test. I mean, one full test by tomorrow evening.
Sure, sir.
Sure, sir.
So, all right. So see you then. And in case you want to ask, Sheenam is here. In case you want to have some questions with her, it is fine. And otherwise, you can just write the answers. That will be fine. Now we can ask her also to enjoy. She has already scored 8 points. All right. Okay. Thank you so much, and have a wonderful day. Bye bye.
Thank you,
Thank you, sir. Bye-bye.
You.